Did you expect it to be as difficult as that was?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I know FA Cup. Since 2018 that Wigan, I think so. Wigan? No, I don't know. Yeah, I think Wigan bringing out in a game like we play 10 against 11 many times, all the time against that teams. We behave incredibly, so we play a really, really good game. It's typical FA Cup game. That's why this competition is unbelievable for the fans, you know, for the how support the crowd, and of course we knew it. They are strong and they belong to the channel, so they're a really, really good team, incredible, well managed. But we may create a lot of chances. They create chances, especially in the long ball, second balls, because always in this competition, League One, League Two, even Championship, they are really, really good on that. But yeah, happy to, you know, to go through.
What was it that your side struggled with in that first half in particular?
I don't think so. I would say the first 10, 15 minutes, then especially when they attack the channels here and we could not defend, and after, so they have a long throws and this kind of situation. They are so strong, and there was, yeah, it was really, really, really hard. But after the fantastic goals that they had, yeah, we take the game and we create a lot of chances.
From your perspective, is it frustrating having to bring on the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Phil Foden when you've got the game against Real Madrid on Tuesday, or are you happy that you can make those changes and you've got that in your locker?
No, absolutely not. That's why they are here. Because I would have thinking in Madrid, honestly, today we don't win. And we will not have 2 finals, the FA Cup, and 5 or 6 semi-finals in a row in FA Cup. So it will never happen. So we take incredible seriously. Another thing is you win or lose. That is not the point. That is not about. But we take seriously and we bring the team. But we thought it was the best.
When you brought on Kevin De Bruyne, did you know that he was going to change the game and that quickly?
Always you expect the best for the players when come in, the best. You know, not just Kevin, all of them. So happy for his goal. His movement was really good.
And I saw you talking to Phil Foden quite a lot post-match. Can you tell us what you were saying to him? And Nico Gonzalez, of course, he got that injury. Is he okay? And can you tell us?
Welcome to the Premier League and the referees. He's welcome.
Yeah. And the weather as well for him.
Well, yeah, but that he knew it. Maybe he knew it about the referees, because I understand it's not easy. It's not easy to do something when you play against the teams like League One. It's not easy to do it.
This was fun, wasn't it? I enjoyed this game. It's worth getting up for.
Well, I'm glad you did.
I'm sure people are happy to hear that.
I did not get up with this.
Did you know? Oh, no, it was good. What was interesting, that even when Manchester City went 2-1 up, is that Leyton Orient still created chances. They were still going for it. They didn't just roll over. And I think if you're a Leyton Orient fan, obviously you're very proud of what you saw today, because it was a great cup.
Actually, I was up, not from the start. I had it on the TV, but I was pottering around.
Pottering around.
Watching around the house. I saw it was a
dusting.
I saw it was a tight game, and then. But yeah, it is, and Guardiola's right. It's kind of what cup competitions, and it's not just the FA Cup. It could be, you know, in Spain or wherever.
Yeah.
You go to lower league oppositions, and they fight like hell, and it's physical. And he talked about balls in the channels and behind the fullbacks, and that's what a lot of these teams down the lower leagues do. They don't. Some of them don't, but not most of the teams in the lower leagues don't try to play out like the Premier League teams from the goalkeeper. Some might try it, but it generally is not a good idea. So they do play a lot of long balls. So you have to, and he mentioned it, you have to fight for those second balls in the middle of the park. So it's a kind of roll your sleeves up. The pitch isn't great. You've got to roll your sleeves up and you've got to be prepared for the fight as well as the football. You know you'll outplay them, but will you outfight them, right? And if you don't have the attitude that we're going to match them physically, then it can be a very, very tough day. And I think he admitted that in his interview, and that's why he's saying he picked a strong side and eventually he had to go to his bench.
Yeah, and up next, of course, it's Real Madrid. You could say, what did we learn today going into that tie? Not a lot. It's going to be very interesting, given what Manchester City have done so far this season, going into this two-legged tie against Real Madrid, the first of which, of course, is Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that on form is really hobbling through the season at the moment, aren't they? And you look at that run of fixtures there, and the way they perform this season, it looks a tough ask to get through that bulk of fixtures. I'm sure you know, the players will be hoping for a good start to those fixtures, but definitely Pep's so experienced nowadays that, you know, he knows how to get the best out of his teams. He He's been subpar this season, but we know that at any moment, a team and a squad like Manchester City can just turn it on. We've seen it over the last couple of years. They go from third gear into fourth.
And they're at -2 gear at the moment.
I mean, that graphic, though, Tottenham apart, every other team in there is a kind of form team. You know, who was on it? It was Real Madrid,
Liverpool.
Newcastle, Liverpool, Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Tottenham are having a hard time. That may change with players coming back by the time that game comes around, but every side is kind of, not that Real Madrid are playing brilliantly, but they're all up near the top of the league. So it's going to be a tough period for them, and a kind of sink or swim period. They'll either come through it and they'll regain some form, or they could lose 5 or 6 of those games very, very easily.
I don't think it'd be a surprise.
No, it wouldn't be.
Brighton will, of course, be in the 5th round draw. Chelsea out. You can take a look at that. What, 1 shot on target for Chelsea in the whole game, and Brighton obviously played their part, but the big talking point here has got to be Chelsea's decline in quality over the last couple of months.
Well, they're a hard watch again.
Well, they just did nothing.
Well, that's what I mean. They've gone from being new manager goes in, been some criticism over the last couple of years about their pedestrian play. It got slightly better under Pochettino, but not brilliant. He goes in there and they are just playing with so much pace. They're not worried about the possession. They're more worried about how they can get in behind the other team.
Yep.
How can we break? How can we get our pacey wide players in behind the fullbacks? How can we get midfield up to support? All that sort of stuff. And it was great to watch. And yeah, they shipped a few goals here and there, but going forward, they were terrific. And they were always a threat in scoring lots of goals. Somewhere down the line, this has just gone. Now, I know they've had some injuries, but not so much in the forward areas. Their injuries have been kind of more...
Nico Jackson obviously out today because of injury, and Kunku starting.
Yeah, Nico Jackson's form has dipped, though, from that early season where he was terrific. I mean, he's much better than I thought. Not only his goal scoring, but his link-up play. But how many chances is Christopher Nkunku going to get? He came in as this sort of guy who was going to be the superstar from Germany, from RB Leipzig. And he's had some injuries, but he's done nothing. He's done nothing. And I think the worry is here for Maresca is that, we were touching it earlier, Madueke's just lost a bit of sharpness. Jackson's lost a bit of sharpness. Jadon Sancho's turning back into the guy that was at sort of Man United.
Cole Palmer's not doing what he used to.
Cole Palmer, the guy that has really carried a lot of what Chelsea have done well. Everything's kind of gone through him. Even he has lost a bit. Not playing terrible, just lost some sparkle.
Look, going to Brighton and losing happens, but it's the manner of the defeat. If I'm a Chelsea fan, I'd be so frustrated because there was nothing in that second half that suggested they wanted to go out and get something from this tie.
Yeah, they lacked real threat the whole game, to be honest. Very different from the Chelsea that we've seen at the beginning of the season. They were absolutely devastating. They played without, they kind of played without a handbrake. They played with no fear, and they were ruthless going forward. I kind of feel like it was around about the time that people started giving them a shout for the title, and then Maresca comes out and says that, you know, that they're nowhere near going to be winning the title, and all of a sudden they kind of dipped after that, and they haven't really managed to recover. But yeah, I mean, listen, they're without an out-and-out striker at the moment, which doesn't help. I still think they're going to make the top 4.
Do you really,
I mean,
Kieran? Look, the thing is, you can have poor runs, but look who they've lost at drop points against. Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace.
I'm actually looking at who they've beaten. Now, they did beat West Ham with a late own goal, but the only teams they've beaten in that run are Wolves, who have been struggling like hell, and Morecambe.
Yeah, that looks dreadful, that form.
So, you know, when you look at who they've beaten as well as the teams they've dropped points against, he's going to have to find a solution to arrest this decline in the performances.
But the problem is, he hasn't so far. There hasn't been any sort of turnaround, no spark, nothing that we've seen that suggested that he has the solution.
And he's touched on this. He said, I had this at Leicester last year. We started like a house on fire. There were umpteen points at the top of the Championship. We were a surefire bet for promotion, automatic promotion, which they eventually got, but not without a scare, because the form in the second half really, really dipped. And he's touched on this here. The problem for him is he's not at Chelsea. He's not at Leicester. Right? He's not in the Championship. He's in the Premier League, and he's at a club who sack managers as much as any other club in Europe. And whilst I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, I'm saying the more they tumble down the table and the more results that he gets that we just saw in that graphic, the more, whenever his phone rings, and it's somebody from the board, they'll be thinking, are they ringing to tell me they're giving me some money to buy players, or are they ringing me to tell me I'm the next one out the door? That's how this club operates.